What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome back. It's me, your boy, Hebot, coming at you with another video right from the car. Really fast, I did realize that I hit the 1K mark on my channel. I'm kind of waiting it out to make sure that it doesn't go down, because a lot of people, once they see you get to a certain point, they'll deliberately, unsubscribe just to kind of, be funny and make you look bad after you said you hit it and you come back. They did it to my boy Sega, man. So I am planning to do either We Got Next, talking about and celebrating it and giving thanks to all of you that made it possible, and also to talk about the importance of Gamescom and what it proved after the show was said and done. But this video is not about that. I just wanted to touch base on that. This video is, once again, Sony shows and their higher-ups at Sony how unprofessional and how dirty and how disgusting they can be as a business, and their business ethics, practices, and the way they do things, which I've been trying to expose and point out for many years since I came on the scene, and even before then, when I used to talk to people locally in my, GameStops and my fun, in my, Babbage's and EB Games and Planet X's and all that stuff for many years, how they do things and how dirty they are, right? And the answer and response I would get all the time, oh, it's just business. Yeah, it is just business, but there's a way to doing things in business, being respectful and doing it with class, which is what Microsoft has been doing for a long time. And people try to act as if, no, they're the ones being dirty and sneaky and don't really care and want to control everything and want to take people's rights and want to buy everybody off, when that's never been the truth. Never. I've said this from way back when. It's never been that way. It's the opposite. Jim Ryan comes out today and does the most unprofessional thing I've seen in years. Then he tries to slander it and change it up and make it seem as if, no, I'm not trying to say anything on what was spoken about. I'm just going to bring this up because Phil kind of changed his word. When Phil never, ever specified any details about what he talked about with Jim privately in a professional meeting. Phil simply stated that he promised to, PlayStation and to Jim Ryan, and wrote a letter to him saying that, that Call of Duty would still be part of PlayStation for several years. And several years means exactly that. I mean, 1, 2, 3 years, maybe 4, right? Which is, to be honest, more than enough, more than a generous offer, especially that Microsoft owns, or will own at that point, Activision, right? And he tries to be slick to make Phil look bad because he knows that nothing is working in their favor. They know that no matter what, they're not going to win over this case because they don't have the money. So they're trying to make Microsoft look bad in every way possible, every chance they get. And this is why I've said for so long, I know Phil's a professional, and I know Phil does things like a professional. He moves himself like a complete gentleman and a true, businessman in the industry, right? That's running a big billion-dollar corporation. But when I said many times before that Phil needs to stop being so nice and acting kumbaya with everyone in the industry, because the industry does not care about anybody else but themselves. Nintendo only cares about Nintendo. You know what I mean? And Sony obviously only cares about Sony. It's always been this way. It's always been this way with any business in any format, whether it's the movie industry, the electronics industry, the food industry, the car industry. It's always been that way. No one's going to go into business to help make another business that's a competitor better or as equal as them because it looks good or because it's nice to be nice when it comes to businesses and making money. That's not realistic. That's not real. And Jim Ryan is trying to say that because of Call of Duty being 20-year plus on the PlayStation platform, that this is not an inadequate deal. First of all, Jim Ryan, Call of Duty got big on the Xbox 360. Because we know Call of Duty 1 was on PC, but it didn't hit that mark of or level, right, of greatness or of the impact it had in the industry of gaming until it got on 360 with Call of Duty 2. That's where it started. And it was only on 360. Call of Duty 3. Then they made it, multiplayer, but it was always first on 360. And Microsoft were the ones doing those deals with Call of Duty of getting timed exclusivity for the content, the multiplayer, and would do even exclusive consoles because it was bringing them revenue and a lot of money. And they saw that. Then when Microsoft was trying to reconstruct everything and change their way of doing business because they wanted to start having ownership, and they saw that every time they would help people out, those same people they help out would come out afterwards when they got an opportunity or a window, would come out and stab them in the back and make a new deal with someone else, right? And then act as if, oh, we didn't do anything wrong, even though it was Microsoft who helped them, right? Which we've seen already with a lot of company developers and their IPs, the way they've acted with Microsoft after they helped them, right? This is just facts. So Microsoft wanted to end that. They wanted to cut that out. They wanted to take that out of the equation, those types of scenarios and situations. So they stopped doing the deal with Call of Duty in the beginning of 2013 rather, with the Xbox One X, because they wanted to make new games. That's why we had 12 or 15 titles at launch that were Xbox exclusive, and a lot of them were new IPs, like Rise, like Max, Curse of the Brotherhood, like, Local Psycho, like Crimson Dragon, like, Titanfall, for example, right? There were just a bunch of games that were brand new, that they were mainly focused and concentrating on, which was great because it was giving Xbox a new look and new feel for the brand that you never saw before, because the 360 was a bunch of third-party deals, right? So that's when they went to PlayStation, Activision, gave them a deal with Call of Duty on PlayStation, and then they immediately started doing the same thing that Microsoft did first with we're going to buy exclusivity, timed exclusivity, and have it on their platform at first for a year, and it worked, because all those kids and people that play Call of Duty, that's all they worry about, they went and ran to to what you call it, to the they went and ran to the Xbox, to the PlayStation, to the PlayStation console, and started playing it there, and jumped ship, and it was all said and done. It wasn't 20 years, because that's when it actually made sense and relevance on PlayStation. Even though on PS3 it did okay as well, but not like the way it did with PlayStation 4. So it was just a business move, and nobody cared. You didn't see Xbox guys crying or upset about it. We just said, listen, it is what it is. Microsoft let it go. They had to do other things. It is what it is. And those that were real loyal Xbox fans, they still stood on Xbox to play the game on Xbox the way they always did, and waited for that DLC for that year or whatever the case was. It was, right? So anyway, they've been trying to act as if Call of Duty was always big on PlayStation for the last 20 years when it wasn't. But yet, fails to forget that when Street Fighter, right, when they made that deal, even though Jim Ryan wasn't there, he wasn't part of that deal. But he was there afterwards, right? When they made the Street Fighter deal, Street Fighter had been on Xbox since the OG. The same thing like games like what you call it? Street Fighter. It was Street Fighter. Give me 1 second. Games like what I was saying was games like that, there was Street Fighter, and also Spider-Man, for example. Spider-Man been on OG Xbox since the OG came out for a long time, and obviously Nintendo consoles. And even Final Fantasy was on OG Xbox and Nintendo for many, many years. But that sentiment has never been addressed. Even after Jim Ryan has taken over, Jim Ryan didn't change and go, well, you know what? We should allow, since it's already been exclusive for so long, Street Fighter have a director's cut, and for them to release it, Capcom, on on the Xbox consoles, or even the Nintendo console for that matter, because it's not our property, it's not our IP, we don't own it. We pay for exclusivity, or the people before me before I was in charge, right? Same thing like Spider-Man. Well, we don't own the Spider-Man IP. It was a deal we did with Sony. With Marvel, because they needed something from us. We took something from them to our advantage. So, it's been already exclusive long enough. Instead of just putting it on PC, let's put it on the Xbox too, or the Nintendo Switch if we can even. You have never seen Jim Ryan with that type of sentiment. The same way Jim Ryan said that retro games were not relevant, and then later on talked about how they want to bring retro games to their services and are overcharging and putting under a paywall. The same way that same Jim Ryan has given the okay for them to boost up the price for the PS5 in other countries, so they can make up costs for their loss, or for the international costs, so they can make it up somehow, right? The same way that Jim Ryan authorized and said it was okay to pay for third party, for 4K upgrades, for enhancements on existing games, right? Or remasters that are cash grabs. He approved that as well. The same way that Jim Ryan and Sony and all the upper heads at Sony were paying developers to keep games off Xbox and Xbox Game Pass, because it's a complete threat and not good for them, right? Economically wise. All these little things that they've done, and top of doing things like the Final Fantasy VII remake, keeping it only on PlayStation, making it from a 1-year deal that to this point now is like a 3-year deal. You know what I mean? Or the upcoming Spider-Man 2, or the upcoming Wolverine. Still IPs that they do not own, but they made these deals, and they want to continue to make these deals to keep it exclusive on the one platform. Okay? And what is it that every other consumer or gamer has to do? They have to go and buy a PlayStation, whether it's a 4 or 5, to play these exclusives, because they can't play them on a Switch or an Xbox. And that was the same response they've been given for the longest to everybody. You want to play them? You got to buy a PlayStation. So now the sentiment is not the same. Now it's different. Because as I've said for many, many years, Sony doesn't make money the way they claim they do with their exclusives. They never have. There was a time maybe back then during the PS1, PS2 era where they made money from a lot of games when they paid for them, yes. But not the way it is anymore. So their real bread and butter is games like Call of Duty. And they know that's what makes them enough bank for them to continue to pay for those mudslinging deals that they do to keep games off Xbox, or for those Final Fantasy VII remakes, or those Street Fighter V DLC. Is that money that they get from those revenue from the Call of Duty that allows them to do these moves and continue to make moves like that. And so they know if once it's said and done, it's over. Jim Ryan clearly knows how to run a company, because that's why he's making those other moves, like, you know, for example, like putting them on PC. But he also knows that he doesn't hold a candle what they're going to make or what they're going to lose as far as revenue stakes if Call of Duty is no longer on PlayStation. And to be honest, even if Call of Duty stayed on both platforms, right? The fact that it would be day and day on Game Pass on Xbox, with the maps all first on Xbox for a year or two or whatever, it will still be beneficial to Xbox, and it will still hurt the PlayStation community. It still will not be the best experience, and people will not choose the PlayStation community version of Call of Duty versus Xbox. They just won't, because it wouldn't make any sense. As a consumer, it would not make no sense. And Sony knows this. So I also have a feeling this is the reason why he's bringing it up, because what he wants is, he don't want it to be day and day on Game Pass. And he also doesn't want that the maps stay exclusive on Xbox, like they were doing before, paying for Xbox to be exclusive for a whole year, and that their gaming, community can't have the exclusive content for a year's time, for example. That's why I think he's also bringing it up, because he wants kind of Phil to bend over and be like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to leave the maps also on PlayStation right from launch. Right? He's trying to play that card game, trying to be slick. And people don't seem to catch this. Right? And then you got the monkey heads, like freaking Jeff Keighley, with the nerve to get involved, saying, oh, but it was Phil that said this thing and then said that, and brought up the comparison about what was said with Minecraft, about how they said it would be kind of like a Minecraft deal where they leave it there and they're not trying to take it away from their, from their consumers, and leave it there and let them enjoy it as well. Well, first of all, the reason why Minecraft was done that way is because Minecraft was owned by one person, and that person, it was his, in other words, he told Phil, I want you to keep it on other platforms. Don't take it away from them and leave it there. And that's what Phil did. Phil listened, because it was a request from the owner that went to them so that they can take the weight and responsibility for the IP, because it was too much for him to handle. He had no business aspects, savvy aspects, the way that he needed to control or continue to control Minecraft. So he went to Microsoft because he knew they had the money, the power, and they had the know-how and how to take care of the IP or the franchise. And that's what he asked him. But that was his request. He asked, please, don't take it off the other platforms. That's number one. Secondly, Activision never told Microsoft, no, if you buy us, we want you to continue to play Call of Duty on PlayStation or even Nintendo Switch. Activision didn't say that. They don't care. They know they're owned by Microsoft. It's whatever Microsoft wants to do. They don't care what they do. Because they know that Microsoft's not going to get hurt if they don't put it on PlayStation. Is it a nice amount of revenue that they'll get from the PlayStation community? Absolutely. But it's not going to hurt Microsoft if they don't put it there. That revenue stream is a bonus for Microsoft. It's not going to help, hold them back or make things worse for them because one game is not making money for them or because they lost that portion of the audience. Because the reality of it is, I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to lose anything. What's going to end up happening is all them people that played on PlayStation are going to jump ship and go to Xbox the same way they did during the 360 era. They're going to jump ship and get it on Xbox. And it's going to be that simple. And then when people start to realize that don't really know or are in the know, that you can get it on Game Pass and you don't have to buy it forcefully day one if you don't have the money, for example, or you have bad economical situation, and that you have that flexibility, and that you're still going to get it day and day, and you're going to get all the content for a year exclusive, for example, or even possibly 2 over PlayStation. Even those people are going to migrate over because they're going to be like, oh, hell nah. No. This is just too much of a good deal to pass up. Any smart person and consumer would see it that way. Period. There's no question. There's no arguing. There's no ifs. There's no ands. There's no buts. It's what it is, what it is. But I saw a couple people tweeting that dumb stuff, trying to compare it to Minecraft. No, very different. Owning a whole company that's worth billions of dollars, with billions and millions, or with hundreds of IPs and developers and workers that they're going to pay out of pocket is very different than buying straight out, flat out the IP or the ownership of the IP from one person that created it and owned it to put it and have ownership over it. It's very different. Microsoft not going to keep paying billions of dollars or pay all those billions of dollars and keep paying all those employees and keep paying them to make these IPs so that they could benefit more on another console, or so that the other version of the game is better on another console. They're not going to do that. That don't make no sense. Or that it could be quote-unquote parity and on the same level as their console. Why would anybody do that? Why? If I own something and I have a better product, why would I make that product least inferior on my product just so it could placate to your product and you guys can be okay? When you guys are the first ones that immediately, when you have an opportunity to cut Microsoft's throat and take them out of the equation so that it benefits you, the Sony's the first one to do it. Sony's the first one to do it without hesitation. Immediately. You see them take that fucking whoop and take, aren't they saying that Silent Hill is supposed to be exclusive for a year? Isn't that the rumor? And if it is, I would not be surprised. Because it's Konami, another Japanese company that loves making deals with Japanese companies. They stick together. It is what it is. It's called stop being in denial and accept the reality of the situation and of life. We are all adults. We got to stop acting like this is kumbaya. It's everybody plays together. Listen, I'm all for cross-play. So nobody's forced to buy a console to play a game on another console that they don't like. I'm all for that. That makes perfect sense. That is good for the consumer. That's pro-consumer. But I'm not for being forced to having to buy a console I don't like to play games that are exclusive to that platform that they don't even own or ever help fund or publish or paid the money to create the development and don't even own the IP. It's different if they own the IP. If they own IP like Shadow of the Beast, they own that studio and the IP now. It used to be on Genesis and Nintendo back in the day, but that dude, the owner, he said it himself, he wanted to be on Sony's console. He wanted to be part of Sony. He wanted to own it, so he flat out let them buy the IP, and I think his studio as well, if I'm not mistaken. That's why we never saw the new Shadows of the Beast on Xbox. And I was fine with that, because they paid for it. It's owned by Sony. Can't do nothing. Once it's owned by someone, you can't do nothing about it. It is what it is. They spend money, they had the money to spend, and they had the money to buy it. Just like they bought Insomniac. I can't get mad at them. I would have much rather have Insomniac been bought by Xbox, but they didn't want to. They said they claimed they wanted to be independent, so-called Ted Price, right? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, he made himself look like a hypocrite because he took that first opportunity, even though they treated him like a prostitute, only paying them $235 million, right? I guess Ted Price like that prostitution money. So it is what it is. But nobody got mad because Sony bought it fair and square. So again, I know it's not alcohol. This is tea. For all you with a dirty mind. I know you guys. Anyway, so yeah. So basically, they just proved once again what I've been saying for so long. That they're dirty, they're unprofessional, and they're mudslingers. And no one can argue this with me anymore. Not no, you know, what's his name? Anybody in the PlayStation community, or That's So Real that always loves saying that it's just me making up stories in my head and whatever. When I've told him plenty of times, broke it down to him, the guy acts like he just don't get it or he doesn't hear. Right? No one can argue because the proof is there. And they're doing it every time more and more, being anti-consumer. But yet people are not concentrating their energy to that anti-consumer shit that Sony's doing. Like bringing up the price hike. Like doing a revision of the console with cheaper parts and cheaper products, which means it's not as durable, it's not going to be as good as the one that they already had, but still charging you more for it, right? Or charging you for backwards compatibility and keeping it under a paywall. Or charging you for free upgrades, right? Or upgrades that should be free, right? Or paying developers to keep content off another console. All this stuff. But nobody wants to prioritize and make those topics the point of discussion. No. They want to make the point of discussion. You see? Jim Rogers is supposed to Spencer. He's a liar. Because he said he's going to keep it at Minecraft. Of course y'all going to say that. Because y'all want your cake and y'all want to eat frosting, the topping, the cherry. Y'all want it all. As long as it's in favor of you motherfuckers on PlayStation getting it. But the minute that is something that Microsoft don't get, you people that are agreeing with Jim Ryan and crying about Microsoft doing something the way that they are, y'all the first ones that do these videos real quick and be like, oh, if you want to play, if you want a Spider-Man, baby, you gotta get a PlayStation. Or if you want Wolverine, you gotta get a PlayStation. If you want to play Final Fantasy, you gotta get a PlayStation. That's the attitude y'all have when it comes to PlayStation and their shitty business practices with IPs they do not own. Keyword, they don't own them. Microsoft, if the deal goes through, is going to own everything Activision. Big fucking difference. Big difference. And I'm glad that Jeff Keighley's showing his damn real colors again. If that man don't ever stop and people still give him the benefit of the doubt. He shows his ponyism and his cultism and his pony rock sniffing-ism to the T. He never stops. He's like, oh, but it was Phil that said it was going to be treated like the Minecraft. You're like, listen, bro. It's called business. And Minecraft was owned by its creator, and it was his request. Activision is a whole company, billion-dollar corporation with hundreds of IPs and developers. A very big difference and different scenario, basically. Give me 1 second, guys. So yeah, guys, I'm just glad that the truth is coming out and surfacing itself. because it's vindicating a lot of things I've been saying since 2013 when I came in the scene publicly, right, with videos and my channel, and on any social platform, and I'm glad that all the people that call me, you know, a conspiracy theorist, or that you're just a hater, or you just hate Sony, which I do, but I hate them for the practices of how they do business, just like now, the way they're showing. Not because I hate Sony as a company, right? Or the products they make, even though they make shitty products in comparison to what they used to. That was always the conversation that everybody tried to pull on me. Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. You're a hater. Get with the program. PlayStation's the best. Blah, 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 blah. I'm glad that now I'm being vindicated once again and proven right of what I've been saying, and that what I said is holding up to point of a conversation that it is right now. Jim Ryan, if you're going to run your company, be a man, pucker yourself up, stop pointing fingers, stop blaming people, and figure out what y'all going to do from this point forward. Because y'all always keep saying that y'all for the players, that you're all your exclusive self fantastic, that you don't need nobody's help. Yet you looking real suspect right now, and you're looking real weak as the leader of PlayStation right now, begging for them not to take Call of Duty. That's sad. And you also showed your unprofessional side today with what you did. You and Phil had a private conversation. It should have stayed private. And Phil, I know you don't watch my videos, but just on the chance that you do, I know Megatron watches some of my videos, and he's close with you. Maybe he can relay the message. You need to see that it doesn't matter how much you care about the industry and how nice you are with people. Not everyone is going to reciprocate and do the same thing back. You need to worry about just Xbox, the Xbox ecosystem, and the Xbox gamers. Everybody else shouldn't be your issue. It shouldn't be your problem. Because if Nintendo and Sony don't care, that's not going to change. Why the hell you got to act like you care? You don't. You don't have to. You've already been more than nice and played nice with all of them. From giving them exclusives on the Switch, on PlayStation, from letting developers go so they can put their games there. Timed exclusive, very short in comparison to what Sony does. All kinds of stuff you've done. You can't do no more. Enough's enough. You gotta be tough and show your tough side, because this is all coming from you being nice with the Minecraft thing. So they're trying to correlate it together with what's going on and use it against you and try to make you look bad and call you a liar and try to say you're not a professional, that you're not professional after you say one thing, you're doing another thing, when that's not the case at all. This is a completely different animal. Alright guys, that's my video. Let me know what you think down in the comments below with your thoughts. And let me know what you think about what I said, if you agree or disagree. So, leave me a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up if you like. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't like. As always, share the video with someone you think might like. I completely appreciate each and every one of you for your continued support that keeps supporting me from day one. Without you, I would not have gotten where I am to this point and achieved the 1,000 mark, which is fantastic. I'm so grateful. I'm so humble. I want to do a giveaway. I'm trying to figure out how and where and what kind of giveaway I can do. Because times are tough, but I would like to give back to show my gratitude. It's the least I can do. So I will talk about that soon, just like I hope to do We Got Next and talk about Gamescom soon. So stay tuned for that. Guys, you can find me in any of the social media platform or online platform in the description below. It's all the details. As well as you can DM me if you want to donate anything to the channel, you want me to highlight it, showcase it, review it, whatever the case may be. It would be my pleasure. It would be an honor. Just hit me up in the DMs and we'll work out the particulars. Now, if you want to help out my channel personally because you like what I do and you want to help me out to get bigger and better and continue to do quality content from the kindness of your heart, you can also do that if you wish so, and if you have the means to, and if you want to, from the kindness of your heart, like I said. It's down in the description with my PayPal and my Patreon information. Very simple, if you want. If you don't, it's perfectly fine. And you know, it's not mandatory. So guys, I'll see you in the next one. This is your boy Ebot signing off. Love you, peace, and we'll hope to have good conversation with this one. See you then. Bye.